Well, hello, everyone. This is Dr. Nick, your favorite personal growth coach, and welcome to another episode of Adulting in My Purpose. You know, I'm always excited to see you every week, and if you're joining for the first time, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. All my returning viewers, welcome. Thank you all for the support. Let me know that you're listening out there. Make sure you say hello in the chat. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe, no matter what platform you're listening to. Just let everybody know what we're doing here at Adulting in My Purpose, because we're starting a movement, right? So for my first timers out there who don't know who I am Dr. Nicole Rankin, better known as Dr. Nick. I'm a certified personal growth coach, and our vision with Adulting in Our Purpose is really to help millennials, young adults, really discover who they are, discover their God identity, clarify their vision of what they want to do in life, and develop a solid plan to take action to move to their next steps in life. That is what we do. We do that here through workshops. We have a whole bunch of events planned this year, so make sure you tune into our Facebook group. Lean in, and we're doing some amazing things, having some amazing events, and that's coming up soon. So definitely check us out on Facebook. And y'all know, if y'all haven't gotten y'all journal yet, you know you need to get the journal, right? Adulting in My Purpose, the journal, it's available on Amazon. Y'all know y'all need to go ahead and get the journal and start your personal growth journey. We'll be using this in an upcoming challenge, so you might want to go ahead, hint in advance to get that, so you could be prepared. Go ahead and get your journal as we talk about adulting. So, you know, guys, I'm always excited to be here because I'll be finding some amazing millennials that are truly making moves. And this episode is going to be like none other. We have the amazing millennials that's doing great things. So I want to introduce her because I'm excited to hear her story, to get to know her a little bit more. Her name is Jadah, and she is a financial literacy expert on a mission to empower millennials to take control of their own destiny through financial literacy and independence. How does that sound, guys? I know that financial literacy is huge among young people like yourself. So she has worked as a financial analyst at the top multinational financial services company, and she's quickly established herself as a trusted financial guru among her clients and peers. And she is the founder of Adulting with Moi, a program designed to educate and engage millennials about financial literacy. Jadah is providing tangible resources to help her clients obtain financial success, as she is also a podcast host. Yes, and her podcast is Adulting is Ghetto. Okay, not only is it hard, not only do you have to find your purpose, it's ghetto too. You know, so, and she's the author of How to Save with Moi. So let me introduce to the Adulting in My Purpose platform, Miss Jadah. Hello.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Nick.
Absolutely. I love it. Look, check out her shirt, y'all.
Adulting My Purpose. Yes, merch. Yes. It is, y'all. It is.
I love it. So we're gonna talk more about what all that means. So, you know, just kind of let's kick it off and just kind of tell the audience, you know, how you got to where you are today. Where did it all start? And what was your journey to get where you are?
Right. And just to be clear, you mean right where I am, like entrepreneur wise, or just in
right. All we want it all. We want it all.
Well, first, giving honor to God himself. No, you know how the church be. But no, honestly,
he's the head of my life. Yes.
He's the head of my life, but he is. And so, no, yes, honestly, I am originally from New York, Jersey area. And I was born in the Bronx. Shout out to my Bronx babies. And moved to New York very young, and so raised in New Jersey. My parents were really big on education, you know, making sure I'm going further than they have. And I'm very blessed to have them in my life to this day. And they really instilled a lot in me to help me be where I am. So I always have to attribute to them that. And then, of course, I ended up going to boarding school in Massachusetts, which led me to go to Mount Holyoke College, which is where I graduated from. And then I did domestic exchange at Spelman. which actually introduced me to the Atlanta life and basically made me want to come down here as an adult. And so that's why I'm here. So that's what kind of got me here physically in Atlanta. And for my business, though, honestly, I just started working in corporate America, as a first kind of generational in a way for my family. They worked in corporate America, but not in the same realm as me, like finance industry. I was a math major. So I got into commercial real estate. I worked at a big, big firm, and I'm sure all of you guys know it. But the thing is that I realized that I was kind of part of like, not the rat race, but almost of like, how can I do better, right? Or how can I get more money? And I realized it's always kind of contingent on someone else, right? So being in Atlanta, especially Atlanta, for folks who do not know, they're very big on entrepreneurship. So it's been super like a rude awakening, but I'm very happy to have been awakened to it, because I would have never thought about it if I probably was back home, back in New York, just doing what I'm used to, doing the same thing my parents were used to, and just not even thinking outside the box. So that's what really led me to this. And of course, I can go into more detail if you want about the business, but
awesome. We'll talk about that. So let's just kind of peel that back into like, how did you get started in the whole financial industry? Is that something that you went to school for, or how did you get into that part?
So I actually, like I said, majored in mathematics, minored in Chinese Mandarin. That's my second language. But basically, I actually wanted to do industrial engineering. That's like a dual kind of combination, of physics and math. I really just fell in love with math. I love problem solving. So that was something that just stuck out to me. I did not want to be a math teacher technically. And it's so funny because my name altogether, Jadah, means wise teacher. So it's so funny. All my life, my mom's like, people are thinking I'm going to be a teacher, but let alone I'm now a financial educator. So I'm like, well, technically I still am, but just not maybe the traditional sense. So that led me to the math degree, led me to working in finance, because I could totally apply those skill sets to that. And then just learning on the job, honestly. And then once that happened, I just, again, adulting is ghetto. I realized that no one taught me anything. I mean, of course, shout out to my parents, but they did the best they could with what they had. And when you think about financial literacy levels, you are kind of the same around your peers. And if you're not seeing anything different, you're going to do the same thing, right? So all of that and lack thereof, I really wanted to just, what is a 401k? How can I make more money? I didn't even know I could do that. Like, all that great stuff. So I just started to learn, and I really fell in love with the personal finance of things rather than the business side of finance. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I always like to find out, what was that passion? Because you're very passionate about the subject. So I'm like, what is that story that got you to that point? So yeah, it's amazing how you kind of find your path and find the things that you love to do. So now that you're in your career, you've gone to school, you're doing things, you're working and doing entrepreneurship, millennials get a bad rap in this world for whatever reason, right? But what do you have found to be like the biggest challenge of being a millennial and really just kind of establishing yourself in this world as an adult?
That's a great question. I almost find it easier, but I could say some challenges I faced is just being young, right? And not having the wise knowledge and counsel that someone older would have, right? Living life, if your parents would say, oh, just keep living, you'll learn it. It's almost like I'm in a great position and where I am in my life. I've surpassed where my parents are, like sometimes in some of their milestones, if you think about it, graduating and then going to a corporate, making X amount of money, whatever. And it's like at this young age, it's like, oh, you have so much more to go, but almost it's like I have more room to make mistakes if I don't how do I say, ask or seek guidance from people that have done it already, if that makes sense. So I think that could be a challenge. Also, too, I think another challenge that happens that I think is out of anyone's control is just we have so much pressure on us to be like the best and this you need to be making money, and social media is out there, which I do think is very, very hard to it plays a lot on people's self-confidence. So have that rooted foundation. For me, it's in God. For me, I call it Godfidence. I'm grateful that I have my parents that feed into me. But if you don't have that, you can really go with the wind. And that actually could be the biggest challenge for a lot of people that are my age and in this generation to come, because you have all these pressures just unnecessarily.
I like that. I think let's kind of unpack that a little bit more, because that what you mentioned is so huge, especially in this technology age. There's so many young people that get caught up. Like I always say, like social media is not reality. But to some people, social media is reality. So how do you kind of differentiate yourself between what you see on social media and getting caught up in what's the information, sensory information that's given to you, and kind of establishing your life for yourself?
Yes, again, great question. Honestly, I'm figuring it out too as I go. So I'm not gonna say I'm like perfect at all. But I do have to say, again, kind of back to my foundation. My foundation comes from God. I was raised a believer, so I, instilled that. And with that said, I realized my purpose, or my who I am, is reminding myself of whose I am. So if I spend time with Him, and I mean Him by God, I know that that's a spiritual thing. What's of the world really doesn't affect me, because I'm not of the world in that sense, because I was chosen, or I'm part of something different. If that makes sense, not to get too spiritual. So that foundation really helps ground me when I see a lot of things of like, oh, I wish I was doing that, or oh, I see someone going on a trip and I'm like, dang, I can't do that just yet. But my perspective changes when I have my daily devotionals or my prayer time, and I'm like realizing or listening to sermons that, it's your mindset. It's like, okay, God has me here for this. And, where I'm at is perfectly fine too. I am breathing, I'm living, I'm healthy. We're in a global Panda Express, clearly. There's so many levels of stuff. So it's like, it helps ground me, if that makes sense. And of course, there's desires to do all those things. And personally, I believe God's going to definitely give me the desire in my heart for all those things, but in His timing. So I just been kind of like learning how to be patient when it comes to those types of things, like materialistic kind of pressures of social media.
Yeah, awesome. And let me tell you, you ain't got to apologize, because my listeners know that I'm a woman of faith too. So hey, you are in the right place. You have no apologies necessary. They already know. I already tell them, like, look, listen, this is who I am. This is what you're gonna get.
Right.
If you like it, fine. If you don't, fine. Whatever it is, but it's me and Jesus. Okay.
Amen.
So you don't have to worry. You were in good company. So I totally understand that. And it's so powerful that you talk about your faith as a young person, because I talk to many people, or many young people like yourself, that are kind of lost and missing, because I feel that they're missing that aspect of their life. So how do you see that as a young person and dealing with your peers, and what does that look for you?
It's crazy. It actually is crazy. I say this because I have a story real quick. When I was in boarding school, of course, I grew up a certain way. I went to church with my friends. Everything around me was constructed, obviously, from my parents' view. So if they are Christian, everything's Christian, right?
Right.
Going to boarding school was my first time experiencing other people that were just not like me at all, came from different walks, and that was such a big shocker in more ways than one. And I remember very vividly, there was one class I had called Race, Class, and Gender. And it was a very specific, very intense class, obviously. And I'm very young. But I remember, and it doesn't matter what the topic was. All I know is this Caucasian boy, and he's my friend to this day. But at the time, I was very pissed. He was like, Nicki Minaj sucks, who I really loved at the time. And God's not real. Get over it. And I've never heard those things in my life. Well, obviously, but the God part, I was like, what do you mean? And that was a whole like new world to me, that people existed without knowing God or believing in Him. And I cried after that. I was like, because it's a debate class, and I was like not really prepared to go back, because I didn't know what to say, because I'm like, all my life everyone's been this way. And so many things it taught me. One, there's difference in things, and that's fine. He is not wrong for what he felt. I've learned to grow with that people are also from other walks of faith, and that's fine. And you should accept them and be respectful. And then also, too, I've learned that with that said, that means there's other people like that. So it leads to the question at hand, is that personally, I see it a lot, and I almost feel bad. So I just try to, at least in my faith, my walk, I always ask God to use me. So I use my Instagram, personal Instagrams, especially for like purpose stuff, and just like if I'm going through something and I feel led and comfortable, I'll share a testimony of mine that God got me through. And when I did that, because it was a huge one a few years ago, people were outpouring the DMs like, oh my God, I just didn't know where to say it. I didn't know you were going through this. I could never tell. And I was just realizing maybe if we all started to be more transparent and authentic with ourselves, of course, with share everything. It's not right. But we could build community around like, hey, I was let go of a job too. I fell on my butt too. I switched my major 500 times. Whatever your issue is, it can help other people. And then that testimony can bring other people and they're like, how'd you do it? Well, let me show you. That's God, and that's literally the key point every time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And honestly, that's what we're called to do, right? As people of faith, we're called to help others in their not issues, but in their walk and help them to be a light, right? So I love the fact that you're standing on your own and not wavering, because it's so easy to get distracted and waver from left to right in this world right now. So I love that. So keep doing that. Keep being an influence. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I also even would say to that, to add on, is that I feel like, of course, again, growing up Christian, I feel like I discovered God for myself too on my own, outside of my parents. I think that's a different transition, or everyone should go through for themselves to make sure it's something they like. But I remember studying different religions and I was like, okay, and I could definitely see the value in all of them. But then I realized what was for me. And so I almost was like, I could not imagine going through life without God. Because I also am just like, whoa, I get why suicide rates us up. I do get why depression is at an all-time high right now. Because if you lose hope, right, which I think is the essential whole foundation of faith into something, this world will beat you upside your head. And you really are just supposed to be like, I'm okay. No, when you by yourself, no. So I couldn't even imagine. For real.
I get it. I'm with you. I'm with you. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So let me ask you this. You have a strong faith and a strong foundation. What are some of the other things, that you do to kind of keep you motivated, kind of keep you on track, and just kind of focus on the things that you've been called to do?
Definitely staying in the word, and connected to the source, right? If you think about it like a plug, like if your battery's dying on your phone, you charge it up, right? So almost think it like that. I've been trying to grow my faith more too, especially during COVID times. We've had more time to do so much more now. But instead of, I was trying to progress than just being like the Sunday Christian, but like, what does it look like to be a Christian every day? What does that look like? My mindset has to change. Obviously, my, words that I come out my mouth, probably should represent God, right? And that's hard. So it's just like, again, I said daily devotionals. I do those in the morning. I do Bible plans at the first of the month with my friends, some of my close church friends back at home. And that's just something we just started because, COVID and just we don't see each other. But it's just little things like that. And those things really just, again, invite God into your life, where I think if you ask him to come in, he will. I think he's a gentleman. So I think, if you invite him in, he will show what you are, praying about. I almost am sometimes afraid to pray sometimes because I'm like, I don't really want the answer to that because I already know the answer's bad. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? So I think that's what keeps me going. Just, going to church or get in the word, excuse me. I listen to so many more pastors now because of COVID. I have like basically 5 churches the way I listen to all different kinds. But I really love it. So I think that's what gets me going or keeps me going. Excuse me.
I love it. I love it. So let's hone in and kind of talk about your business and the concept of adulting is ghetto, and how did that all come about?
Right. So adulting is truly ghetto, y'all. Okay. And I'm sure anyone can say it, but I had a coming to Jesus moment, I love to say, in my finances. And my clients who, if they're listening, they know I always ask, what was your coming to, Jesus moment in sense of finance to even reach out to me, right? What happened? And so long story short, I was working my first good paying job, making really good money. And I really silly, like really stupidly, really, but I put a lot of my stuff on my credit card, which is fine because if you're going to build it, great. I think that's a great way to do it. I don't know what happened, but for months, I want to say 2 or 3, I was not paying it off. I was just like, oh, it got paid. As I see it got paid, everything's good. No one's coming at me. And I'm still getting used to bills, I guess, because I never had to really pay for much. And so I just was like, oh, cool. And, I don't got that much credit limit. So a few car notes on that thing is done, So I noticed it was like, my minimum payments were growing, but not realizing, oh, it's because I'm not paying off, and then the money I would spend, I just like, oh, I got a lot of money. I look at my account when I'm out with my friends. I'm like, oh, yes, swipe. Not realizing that's the money I should have paid off the credit card with. Long story short, I woke up to a negative balance because it started charging the card that I had of negative $500, which is really bad because I needed $500 to even make net zero. Then of course the rest for my bills. And I literally just maybe got paid. So I have to wait 2 more weeks. All in all, I was screwed, and I called my dad Dad, I don't even know what's going on. I didn't know how it happened. Can you help me? All this stuff. And thank God he could, or at least he got me to a point. But that was my moment of Jadah, you got to do better because you cannot always call your daddy. Okay. You also, adulting is ghetto, first of all, because the fact that they want me to pay bills every month on time.
I'm sorry. I love it.
Okay. I think it's just wild of them to think that. So
how dare they?
Yeah. And so I'm telling this to my dad, and he's like, "Oh my God, baby girl, just it's your life." And he's like, "Yeah, I've been doing this for all my life, and yours."
Right. That part.
So now I realized I was like, okay, let me get my life together. So that's what really happened. The embarrassment I felt, the just not knowing, I did not like not knowing what I was doing, especially in control of something that is mine, which is my finances. It immediately made me want to jumpstart to learn as much as I could. So that's what really started it. And I literally started with just listening to podcasts, reading financial books. I'm a little nerdy, obviously, math major, so I like that. And as I learned, I would tell my friends, and then of course implement them for myself. But then people just started listening, and they're like, "Oh!" And I hear in the conversation, we'll be like, "Y'all do y'all 401ks yet? What's matching?" And I'm like, "I just read about this. Actually, you should do this." They're like, "Really? Where'd that come from?" And we just start sharing knowledge, and then that's when people just started. It was factual because I just got it from other things. So I'm like, yeah, actually, let me make sure I'm doing right and break this generational wealth curse on my family because this is not going to happen. So yeah, that's how it all really started, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I love it. There's always a come to Jesus moment.
Yes.
When you're looking into your purpose, and I love the fact that I can feel your passion about the story, and the reality is your story is so common. Because of the lack of knowledge that is out there. So many, not even young adults, some adults fall into the credit card trap and, biting off more than they can chew, and that interest rates you pay 10 times over what you would have paid for a t-shirt. I remember when I was in school, they were like, get a free t-shirt, sign up for a credit card. That's how that worked back then.
That's terrible though, because we would do it not knowing.
I did it. I wanted my free t-shirt.
Right. And it's like, what the heck was I thinking?
Absolutely. So I love your mission. I love just because it's so needed. So let me ask you this about your business and how you're going about just kind of what advice because it looks like you have found a purpose in life, right? You found a mission and just like a ministry, as you talking about helping other people, finding knowledge, getting that knowledge and imparting knowledge and helping others grow. What advice would you give to other young people your age who are seeking their purpose and really trying to find, their place in the world?
I really feel like you got to pray about it. I think, as I'm learning and growing and maturing in faith, like I said, this is something I'm doing, I'm living, right? So it's current. I feel like I even find myself when I'm thinking about the goals I have for this business and how I want this to go and go viral on this, do this. I sometimes have to step back and see, is this what God wants, So when you think about purpose, I also think of align with faith, and it's like God's work or God's will, right, that I'm doing. He placed me on. So it's like I should consult him if I'm gonna do it and claim him, right? So I would start with praying about it. I did not pray about it in the beginning because I didn't know this was even in me, if that makes sense yet, because I was going a whole nother path. And I still work a 9 to 5. Don't let it trip you. I'm a 9 to 5 at work from 5 to 9. But until this point is, to the point is that I just started. It's this weird feeling. I try to explain to my best friends. I get a joy, a very internal sense of joy when my clients come to me and saying, I paid off this this credit card. And I get it now. Now I'm going to max out this, or, oh yeah. It really, it's an internal smile that I cannot really explain. And I really think it's because that's what God's intended me to do. So I started following those things. So when it started happening, building like a year and a half ago, whatever, and little things like that, I was doing free sessions, just like happy to help, explain to people what the heck we're talking about, what we're doing. And those little moments really just fed me, fed my soul. So I was like, oh, okay, if I keep going and following this, I think we're going to lead somewhere. And of course, then I started praying about it because I was like, well, I really want to make this a big thing. So that's when that happened. So I think praying about it is the first advice. Second, it's also taking time to realize what you actually like and differentiate between a hobby and your passion. Because I think this generation, especially my generation, is very big on monetizing anything and everything, which is fine. However, I think the root of that is not the best because it's almost like greed. It's like some things are just fun to do. You know what I mean? And it's okay to do. If you're just knowledgeable in something, you don't have to make it into a business. Not everyone is meant to be a business owner. So I'm first to say that. And not everyone's meant to be a corporate, person climbing the corporate ladder. That's okay. When you figure or find out, say you're like a puzzle, it's not fitting, then you shift. I wouldn't just assume that something's not for you until you try it, if that makes sense. So I just would be very big and encourage people, really just write it out, seek it out, and try them all and see what floats with you. You know what I mean? And you actually enjoy doing, because that's also where the real part is. I enjoy doing this. I can work a long week at work, but I'm so excited to be, I don't care how tired I am, I'm still dedicated to this because this is my why. And that comes from, I think, just me being in my purpose versus a job that I'm like, oh, I don't care if I get paid or not. I'm gonna take PTO. You can't do that with your business, So it's like one of those, you got to find out this is really your thing that really gets you going through the dark times.
Wow. In that little, I hope you guys out there taking notes, because Jadah just dropped some golden wisdom for you all. Okay. You said so much that is just powerful. And so just kind of unpacking that, because you have young people out there, they're seeing people like yourself who are just kind of full of confidence and so apt to get out the comfort zone, to, like you saying, try different things, see if it works. What do you say to the person that's, they have fear, right? They're scared to get out that comfort zone. They're scared to push the envelope. They're scared to do something new. What advice, or what would you say to that person?
Yeah. And I actually got this question recently, so it's so funny. I kind of would say this. One, again, going back to the source, he hasn't given me the spirit of fear, right? I can really do all things through Christ. And I really believe that. Whatever I set my mind to, I really think I could do it. Me majoring in mathematics was not because I just loved math. I had a love-hate relationship with it. I failed it in middle school by a bad teacher, first of all, but I was doing well everything else. And when I took the class again in high school and I realized I was excelling, that to me was like, I'm never going to let something ever deter me from doing something I like or what I think I like. So that's why I continue to do it. It's a love. I love when I get it, but I hate when I don't. But I love it enough to get it, because it's not going to be the thing that breaks me, if that makes sense. So I would say that, or use that kind of analogy in a sense of, you don't know unless you try, one. But two, remember that if you fail, and I put this parentheses on purpose, and it's something like a pushback, that doesn't mean it's a no. It could be like something's testing you in a sense of like, hey, are you really about it? Like, can you back up what you are putting down? And I think to push someone or encourage them to get into it, again, start small. You don't have to do anything crazy. Like, I don't come from a line of entrepreneurial people in my family. I'm doing this. I'm taking one ghetto day at a time. And that's literally it. So if today is your day that you want to try something different, reaching out to me, I don't know what the business is, but like, you're trying to reach out and get more people, present the idea to someone, see what happens. And remember, it's just one person. One no does not, eliminate everything you're doing, because there's going to be a lot of no's in life. I think another part is understanding that it's business. When you take, how do I say this? That's why I say you want to really know what you really want and your why and your passion, because this is how I do this. Well, obviously I'm passionate about it. Like Erica Badu say, like, I'm sensitive about my, I am. But I also, so I got to take some of my emotions out of it and really kind of operate that I am the CEO and founder that I claim to be of Adulting with Mom. And it's almost like putting on that hat and just saying, what would that person do? Hey, fake it till you make it, as Rihanna would say. But it's true. Those days you're like, I don't know this, do it. Those days when you're like, oh, I got a rejection. Or if you're interviewing, you get rejections. That's one no. There's a balanced amount of yes out there. Maybe it's not for you. Keep going, And I think we are in a very fragile generation where if it doesn't hit the first time, it's like, oh, woe is me. And it's like, no, life has never been that easy for us. Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah. Do it again. I mean, like, of course, within reason, don't be losing thousands of dollars or something, but like, okay, and next, let's go.
The next one.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I don't know if that helps, but
it's helping. It's helping me. I know it's helping somebody that's out there listening, because not only are you helping your peers, you're helping some adults out there that's listening, that's tuning in too, that needs to hear this, and just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I always say that greatness is on the other side of comfort. And a lot of times as we get older, it's so easy to get content in a life that we know, especially believers, that we know God is a God of abundance, right? And we want that abundant life, but we're not really truly ready to put our faith and trust in him in order to experience that. And so when you were speaking, it's saying, trust him, get out there, do it. And I love the fact that you talked about failure, because when I talk to so many young people, many of your peers, that's the first thing they talk about is their fear of failure, their fear of criticism, their fear of not knowing what they need to know, not the fear of not having the resources, all of those things. But I love the fact when you talked about that. So can you describe an obstacle that you had to face and you had to overcome, and what did you learn from it?
Right. So first of all, it sounds like an interview question. So I'm like, kind of like went to my STAR method for folks who interview. Well, at work. For business wise, some obstacles. Child.
Or just life, period.
Life, okay.
We're talking about adulting, professional and personal. So this is one of those things, because I think any obstacle that a person overcomes, there's a lesson that we can learn from in this process of adulting. So yeah.
So there's so many. Trying to think of the best one to say. Okay, so I think one that I like the testimony I mentioned before. I worked at a really great bank. I was let go wrongfully, and that shocked the crap out of me. I was like, "What?" The failure kicked in. I was like, "How could Jadah, the one that went to boarding school, set apart, got straight A's, and got fired from this big corporate job? Like, what? And no one knows the reason. No one cares to know that. They just see, oh, you're not working. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. So you have all that coming in, insecurities, all that stuff coming in. And the day that happened, I did not know, obviously. because it was wrong done. But it happened, and I immediately went home. It was like around lunchtime, and I lived with my mom, or my mom lived with me, excuse me, at the time. And I went straight home. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "They let me go, girl. They let me go." And I just went to my prayer closet and just started praying and bawling. I say that to say, when life knocks you down or a challenge that's hurting you or whatever the case may be, turn to a source that's bigger than you. I obviously am not a corporation. I can't be like, oh no, all this stuff. I turn to the source that I get my help from, right? And it was like a weird, but the peace that surpasses all understanding came over me in that moment, in the sense of like, I was praying, I said, Lord, I know you got me. I know you got me in my arms. That's all right. I was still building up emergency fund. I was still learning what the heck that was. So we're not bouncing full just yet. But when I tell you in the next 2 months, and I also declared that I would get a job by my birthday, which was in July. I swear to Bob, I did not have to use not $1 for my emergency fund. No bill went unpaid. No one would have never known. I had a birthday celebration like none other, because I'm a Leo, and everyone was like, "Oh my God!" When I made the toast, people were like, "I didn't even know you were going through those things." And I'm like, "It's God." And I say all I can say is that sometimes you are getting into challenges or facing obstacles you don't see the end to. I did not see my next job, obviously. I didn't know when it would come. I still received no after no after no, because I was still interviewing. I still had to keep moving because I was, operating. I had to take care of my mother, all this stuff. But I just knew I could trust in something or someone, and that was God. So I say that to say that regardless of what the situation is, I know things can get really hard. I'm sure people are dealing with even worse things that I can even imagine. But I do know from testimonial and experience, God never fails. So even if you feel like you failed, He won't. So if it may have not worked out for you, just rethink, reshift your mindset of like, well, maybe that wasn't part of His plan, because He doesn't fail. And if He's before me, who is against me? If that makes sense. And I just always just think of that. When there's an obstacle that comes, I'm like, oh, okay, I could do what I can in my fleshly self, but I'm like, God can't do it, because why not? Because He doesn't fail. Why would you know? So, and again, it's something that's been growing for a while. Like obviously I've been adult whatever for like 5-something years, but it's like keep doing it. And God's been showing me in different ways, different experiences. Like, I got you. I said I would do this, so trust me. I'm gonna put you through this, but I'm still there. And I almost, if I'm being honest, sometimes He puts us through stuff just to see if you really are about it. Because it's hard to see everything that you trust in God when everything is peaches and roses. But when you actually, I don't have an income. I learned in that lesson, God is my source. The job was not. I realized I idolized my job. So I was like, no, God pays for this, because I literally am not paying for this, because I don't have a job. You know what I mean?
I love it. Wow. Let me talk about adulting. Like the things that you were talking about now are lessons learned that some adults still trying to learn. So
I feel for them, because it's a lot. Because I had my mom, but I know people have like full like families and stuff. And I can't even imagine, to be honest.
Yes, awesome. Just a wealth of knowledge. And you just speaking just so much wisdom and just helping in this adulting process, because of the fact that you're going to go through things, you're going to have challenges. Adulting is ghetto, it's hard, it sucks, all of that. But I love the fact that you are so grounded in your faith and in your foundation, because with a solid foundation, nothing can shake you, right? Even if you're shaken, you're still standing firm. And I love that. And you're exemplifying that in your life. And so I just encourage you, and those that are listening out there, and it could be, even if you are a person of faith and going through things, because a lot of times when we look at those situations and those circumstances, what we put our focus to, that's what grows. So we get sidetracked, right? We get sidetracked and we see the problem, see the obstacle, because that's all we're thinking about. But God like, hey, I'm over here. I'm over here.
And that mindset shift really helped me. Like I said, that was one of my biggest, like, oh my God, like, okay, I just grew more in faith. but other things that happen in business and stuff. And I would just shift my mindset, and it helped me focus on other things. And again, that's why I said earlier, I'm happy to be here. There's health. I have a job. I am secure. My house is fine. You know, we're still in a global, I love to say another word than pandemic, but you know, like a global parentheses. And, you know, it's like people died, but I'm grateful for life and I'm still here. So that means there's still purpose over my life. And I try to just say that to my mom, encourage her and everyone, because we're still here. We're among the land of the living. So there must be something that we must do. And at that point, find it and go on do it.
go on do it, right? Period. I love it. So you mentioned some of the things that you do, you know, as a personal growth coach and working with millennials, helping them find their purpose. And, you know, there are things that we do, and I do like for myself on a daily basis, just to kind of grow and replenish myself, to keep me in that mindset, as you talked about, that mindset shift. Right. So what are some of the things that you do kind of as your routine for daily living?
For daily living, in general, like when you say what I do, just like to stay on track and stuff like that.
Yeah. How do you like, kind of like when I say personal growth, like what do you do for yourself? To get you in a mindset and to keep that perspective and the mindset correct. That's personal growth and development. What does that look like for you?
Definitely, like I said, wake up or whatever. And I try to pray. I'm working on it still. But daily devotional for sure. Just get a little word in. And then work out. I think that's really helpful. Gets my mind kind of set. Not every day do I go. I'm not perfect, so please understand. But you know, I try to do that, and typically when I get that out the way, I really do feel like I have a better day, more so because I'm just like level-headed. But then, like I guess the daily thing or what I like to do, you know, I work a 9 to 5 and a 5 to 9. So I kind of prepared my weeks to be kind of heavy, like business, because obviously I'm working already, so I might as well keep the grind going. But the little pockets of time where I start to notice if I'm like running low on something, I'll do some fun things I like cooking, a cool new meal, watching a cool little show, hanging out with friends for sure, drinking. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But like
anyway.
But no, I you know, just indulge, and I'm a foodie, aka that, but I really love trying new things. So if I'm ever like trying to just remember who I am, I always try to take a percentage of my week to obviously give to myself and self-care. So take a bath, or you know, read a inspiring self-help book. I think those are great. That's one thing I would have to say I've been doing that's really helped me grow. Because I think we're always forever students. Like even though I got my degree, or if I don't choose to go back to school ever again, I'm still a student of life. And so those types of books, like the 4 Agreements and there's so many, but like just different kinds, it gives me a different perspective. I also go to therapy. I think everyone should go to therapy, especially if you're Black. I think we go through so much traumatic stuff just being here that you need someone to talk through some of this crap that's going through your head, subconsciously and consciously, you know? And so that's something that's really helped me stay grounded. And I think about actually getting a life coach too, because I just think you never could not have too much guidance and just perspectives to bounce things.
Absolutely. I love it. I mean, you said a lot: exercise, praying, devotion, all of that, reading. I was going to ask you what you're reading, but you mentioned the 4 Agreements. I know we have talked about this on another one of our shows. Another person recommended that book. Or is there anything else that you're reading or listening to for you during this time?
Yes, so that book is good. I just finished that not too long ago. All About Love. I'm reading now, which is good. I read like 2 or 3 books at a time. It's weird, but like because I get, depending on what it is, self-help, too much self-help, but fun is satire, you know. There's another one by Nidra Tawwab, I believe. She's a therapist, and it's called Setting Boundaries. So good. It's been really good. It made me realize just in perspective relationships and all kinds, platonic and romantic. And this is more, it's considered a self-help book technically, but I kind of just really like it because I'm in therapy too. So I've been learning about how to set boundaries, and it's just, she does a great job. And, you know, if you can't afford therapy or whatever, I have some suggestions. You can use Open Path Collective. That's very affordable. You don't need insurance. Because I do think you need to make it a priority if you want it. But also too, the book, super good. She's a therapist. She actually like makes it into like a mini series of sessions. So I love that. That's something you should probably check out, or anybody.
I love it. I love it. Great resources. And, you know, it's good to hear the things that you do. So people, I know, especially when, in our culture, therapy has this stigma. And so, you know, it's a great thing that you are open and you're talking about. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being open and sharing your life and sharing experiences. So let me ask you this, as this time flew by. We're almost wrapping up. Yes. So let me ask you this. If you could change one thing in the world, what would it be and why?
Oh, Lord. What would it be? You know, this sounds so deep, but just the way we think about money and how it rules the world, if that makes sense. I say that because I'm in it, right? Working in it, and I hear a lot of cases. I'm myself. A lot of the things we do as humans, or of course in this economy, is because it's ruled by money, right? This wealth of attaining it, right, and sustaining it. And there's so much more life outside of that I think some people forget because they're just working. And if you heard that culture is like, I'm drowning in bills, and where I'm working. It's like, I want people to experience life and just relax, you know, and not have to be at the, I'm going to my next job. Some people have 3 jobs, and I get it. You need to live in this inflated economy, but it's almost like I wish we could have a reset, or just not have so much hypes around money. I've been to really poor countries before when I was younger and experienced the most happy people that were really actually genuinely happy, and they're poor because they had family and love. And that's when I realized, oh, this is all ridiculous. This is all, you know what I mean? And that's when I was like, oh, I wish I could help liberate people outside of this mindset of race, but like actually live life and be content with wherever that is. But it's hard to do. So that's something I would try to change. But I don't know.
I love that. Just as you said, you know, and I've traveled and see people in poor conditions, and just how content and happy and just joy, but they don't know that they're poor.
That's true.
That part, right? So, and then when you get back here, it's like you said, it's that gain, hustle and bustle. So it definitely puts you in perspective when you do a lot of traveling. So I love that. That's awesome. So let me do this. I know, guys, let me get her information so you can find out where you can get to her. How can our viewers reach you? Where are you on social media? What's coming up next for you? Tell us that part.
So everyone, thank you so much for having me again. But my name is Jadah Quick, and you can find me on Instagram from under my business at there it is. There we go. Adulting_with_moi. Everything is there, honestly. If you are looking to work with me, want me to come speak at an event, become a client, you just click the link in that bio. I set it up so it can be very easy. Upcoming things coming up. Okay, so I offer memberships, of course, for my clients. Shout out to my clients if you're watching this. But I also speak, and so if there are some more engagements going on, typically they're more private, obviously, so it's not open. But if you want me to come to speak to your group, I will. But a public one that I do host a monthly webinar free of charge, and we basically cover the basics of budgeting, savings, and paying off debt. I'm known for, if you've known me, for paying off $10,000 worth of consumer debt in a year. So I've been helping my clients do such things if they desire that. And so I've been just trying to help one millennial at a time, if that makes sense, reach their financial goals. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. That's a monthly thing I do. And I think by the time this airs, there will be coming one up. So just, again, click the link in the bio and link in the bio, follow me, and then you will see it, because I will blow you up. Okay. No, I'm kidding. No. You'll just see it.
I love it. So guys, make sure you click the link, follow Jadah, and she's doing amazing things. You are amazing. Thank you so much for this conversation. It has been so much fun. Just a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that you have. And I just pray that God continues to open the doors, enlarge your territory, and guide you to the things that He has for you, because there's definitely the best is yet to come for you. So I'm excited for your journey.
Thank you. And also want to say, I appreciate this opportunity. I found you through Instagram. Of course, obviously everyone knows, but I was just like, oh, I love what you're doing. And this is really great because I think we need it, honestly. And so keep doing your work. And I appreciate you even highlighting me and my story, but I've also watched other stories, and you have amazing people on here. So I'm just excited to be here, honored, and look forward to working with anyone or talking to.
Definitely. We're going to be connected now.
Yes. And if you want this shirt, it's on the site, because this is my podcast. Okay.
I love it. And so we're going to put out the last question I ask all my guests is, what does adulting in my purpose mean to you? Real quick.
Okay, so quickly, I'll try to keep it quick. Adulting in my purpose means just following and doing God's will, right? I think kind of, if you didn't know, I'm Christian, obviously, but I definitely do believe I'm doing His work, and that's my duty of being here on this earth. So I would want to walk in that purpose, walk in His alignment, and really do His will. So that's what adulting in my purpose means to me. It's just actually aligning my life, my desires with God, and hopefully just doing the best that I can with what I got. Okay.
I love it. There you are, have it, guys. You know, I always bring amazing people to the platform for you to gain some knowledge. That's what we do with Adulting in Our Purpose. This is a movement to help you as young leaders discover who you are, clarify your vision, and develop a plan to take action to next step in life. So come back next week. We're going to have another guest do some other amazing things. You don't want to miss it. So until then, you know what to do. You stay safe and be blessed, and come back next week. We'll see you then. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
This was so awesome.